The following morning, Mia sat at her favorite corner table in the Sunbeam Diner, sketching out lines for a new office complex. The clinking of mugs and the soft hum of conversation usually soothed her. But today, her mind replayed the haze of midnight. Jazz notes swirling in the darkness, Ethan's laughter, and the wistful feeling lodged in her chest. Her phone vibrated. A new message from an unfamiliar number lit up. Ethan, thought you might want proof. The night happened. Still under the stars. E. Attached was a photo. 2 pairs of shoes in the grass. The city's lights a blur. Mia smiled, tapping out a careful reply. Mia, I have meetings today. No saxophones allowed. Seconds later, her phone buzzed. Ethan, what about coffee? No instruments, promise. Still staring at the screen, her friend Julia slid into the booth, eyeing her curiously. Who's got you blushing before noon? Just someone I met under the stars. Mia tried to sound nonchalant, but Julia's grin widened. Already sounds like a movie. Before lunch, Mia found herself at a small cafe near the riverside. Ethan was waiting. No saxophone, just 2 coffees and a hopeful smile. Hesitancy battled excitement in Mia's stomach as she took a seat. So, Ethan, do you always perform for strangers? He shrugged. Only the ones who look like they need it. Mia laughed, the sound surprising them both. Conversation spilled easily about favorite records. Mia's impossible deadlines, Ethan's next gig at a hidden jazz club. But when talk turned to their dreams, the tension became clear. You ever feel like the city's trying to push you into a mold? Ethan asked, swirling his coffee. Mia looked away, tracing the rim of her cup. Sometimes, but maybe you have to make your own space for magic. Ethan's gaze held hers, steady and searching. Maybe magic finds you first. They left the cafe in comfortable silence. The city humming around them, both wondering if fate had just nudged them toward a new beginning. Rain streaked across the high windows of Mia's studio as she worked late. Blueprints spread across her drafting table. Notes from the jazz cafe lingered in her mind, threading through her focus. She startled when her phone chimed. Ethan again. Ethan. Jazz at the Velvet Note tonight, 7th Street. I'll save you a seat by the stage, if you dare. She hesitated, glancing at the looming models and her blinking laptop. But the soft insistence of a melody she couldn't name tugged at her. She texted back, send me the set list, just to prove you're not improvising entirely. Minutes later, she was locking up, the city slick with rain and reflections. Inside the Velvet Note, the scent of cinnamon and old wood hung in the air, couples talking in hushed voices. Ethan's band was setting up, and as promised, she spotted a seat at the very front. Ethan greeted her with a mock bow before slipping from behind the velvet curtain, instrument glinting. Mia, right on cue. Don't let it go to your head. But she couldn't help smiling, nerves fluttering as the lights dimmed. The first notes floated out, bold and wandering. As Ethan played, Mia noticed how his eyes scanned the crowd, landing on her, as though each note was meant for her. She closed her eyes, letting the music trickle through her, disassembling stress and rebuilding her in ways she didn't yet understand. After the show, Ethan found her outside beneath the awning, rain still whispering on the pavement. So, that was unexpected, Mia admitted, clutching her coat tighter, cheeks warm. You play like you're chasing something. Maybe I am, he replied quietly. Or saw one. Cars zipped past, headlights flashing over raindrops. For a moment, the world narrowed to just them. Music, rain, and a burgeoning promise neither dared articulate. Not yet. Mia could still hear Ethan's saxophone the next morning as she rushed between meetings, city plans, and obligations shadowing her every step. Tucked in her coat pocket was a folded napkin from the velvet note, Ethan's handwriting looping across it. "You owe me a song request." By lunchtime, the city felt heavier than usual, its relentless order pressing on her. It was only when Julia cornered her in the break room, waving a croissant, that she realized she needed a break. "You're somewhere else today. Friend drama or the jazz man?" Julia's grin was gleeful. "It's not drama. It's complicated," Mia replied, thinking of how Ethan's presence unraveled her careful planning. "Complicated is just another word for interesting," Julia nudged. "Take a risk." That afternoon, a bouquet of wildflowers appeared at the reception desk, so out of place among the polished steel and glass that Mia blinked. Tucked inside, a note. "Pick a night. I'll play your song. E." That evening, she found herself wandering the city, drawn by an urge she couldn't define. She wound up at Ethan's apartment, a cozy third-floor walk-up, windows fogged by the rain. He greeted her at the door, mismatched socks and all, a grin spreading as she handed over her song request. "Debussy, Claire de Lune, think you can do it?" "A challenge, but for you, anything," he quipped, and motioned her inside. His living room overflowed with music sheets and a battered piano. Nothing orderly about it, and for once, the chaos was strangely comforting. They spent hours talking. City dreams, childhood fears, the way music and architecture shaped their worlds. And finally, beneath mismatched lamplight, Ethan played her song. Not perfect, but achingly sincere. Mia closed her eyes, letting the notes swirl through her. For the first time in a long while, she didn't care about precision or plans. She let herself simply feel. "You make me want to build something new," she whispered. Ethan paused just long enough to meet her gaze, his fingers stilling. "Maybe we could design it together." A possibility shimmered there, fragile and thrilling, two dreams on the edge of becoming real. City life blurred into golden afternoons and late-night talks. Mia and Ethan slipped into each other's worlds little by little. Her lunch breaks spent in jazz cafes, his mornings joining her for coffee before her office rush. Still, the differences between them snagged on small moments. One Saturday, Ethan showed up at Mia's workspace, trumpet case in hand, grinning like a mischief maker. "I'm your +1 for the groundbreaking ceremony." Can't be an architect's boyfriend without a proper debut. She pressed her lips together, suddenly nervous. "This isn't really your scene. Everyone's buttoned up and competitive." "Lucky for you, I clean up nice." Ethan tugged on his borrowed tie, earning a laugh from Mia. But as they joined the polished crowd in the city square, that laugh faded. Mia watched the way colleagues eyed Ethan's scuffed shoes and easy smile, a stark contrast to their own measured courtesy. During speeches, Ethan edged close, whispering, "Who knew concrete could be so dramatic?" Mia stifled a giggle, earning a sideways glare from her boss. Afterwards, over fancy hors d'oeuvres, Mia's supervisor cornered her. "Is your guest in the industry?" she asked, eyebrows arched. Ethan jumped in. "I'm more into improvisation than spreadsheets, but I admire Mia's work. She's kind of a genius." Mia blushed, torn between pride and anxiety. When her boss left, Ethan took her hand. "Does it bother you, me not fitting?" She looked away, voice soft. "Sometimes I wonder if my life makes sense for you, For us. Ethan squeezed her hand. I'm not here for your job. I'm here for you. Besides, you make these skyscrapers a little less lonely. As dusk settled, they slipped from the crowd, ending up atop a nearby rooftop. The city glittered, all glass, steel, and hope. Mia leaned into Ethan, feeling the thrill and fear of their differences. Ethan strummed a melody on his trumpet mouthpiece. We're not the same, Mia. That's the best part. Your world needs a little jazz. Mine could use some structure. Their laughter echoed over the rooftops, light, untamed, and full of promise. The gap between their dreams felt, for the first time, less like a canyon and more like a bridge. Autumn crept into the city, painting trees gold and russet. Mia buried herself in her latest project, an art center meant to bridge old architecture and innovation. Designs filled her walls, but so did tension. Every day was meetings, deadlines, and restless nights, the burden pressing down until she started missing Ethan's messages for the first time since that meteor shower. Ethan noticed the change. He practiced in the park near her work, hoping she'd wander by, saxophone case open like an invitation. But most evenings, all he got was wind and falling leaves. One Friday, Ethan showed up at Mia's apartment with hot cider and a hopeful smile. You vanished! Are we okay? Mia, still in work clothes, hair pinned up and circles under her eyes, let him in with a sigh. I'm sorry, I'm just overwhelmed. This project could launch my career, or ruin it. He set the cider down, crossing to her. Let me take you somewhere. We both need an escape. She hesitated, but gave in, letting him lead her through bustling streets to a rooftop garden above an old jazz club. The city lights shimmered, but up here, everything felt softer, less urgent. Ethan pulled out a battered harmonica and played a slow, sweet tune, the kind that teased memories out of hiding. Mia listened, melting bit by bit. How do you always know what I need? Ethan shrugged. You build bridges out of stone. I build them out of notes. Same thing in the end. They sank onto a garden bench, heads touching. Are you afraid? Ethan finally asked. Mia let herself answer honestly. Terrified. What if we're just too different? What if ambition gets in the way? For once, Ethan was quiet, gazing out over the cityscape. Love doesn't ask you to change your dreams, Mia, but sometimes it asks you to make room for two. As autumn wind carried his melody into the night, Mia rested her hand over his, silent but hopeful. She wondered if, in this messy and beautiful city, she could learn to fight for something unpredictable. Them. Winter's first frost glazed the city, and tension ran as sharp and brittle as the ice. Mia's new art center project was approved, on the strict condition she oversee every aspect. Late nights multiplied. Ethan's gigs picked up too. The holiday season filled his calendar with smoky clubs and last-minute rehearsals. Their text exchanges became shorter. Calls dropped into awkward silences. One snow-laced evening, they met by chance on the subway platform. Ethan looked tired, saxophone case at his side, flakes powdering his hair. Mia's cheeks were pinched with cold and worry. Been a while, Ethan said softly, searching her face for a trace of the old warmth. Too long. I'm sorry, Mia replied. She gestured to her laptop bag. I've almost forgotten what normal feels like. He offered a rueful smile. Music's been swallowing me too. Guess we're both chasing dreams, huh? The train came, roaring and bright. side by side in a rattling car. Their knees touched, but words stalled. Finally, Ethan spoke. What if for one night we put it all aside? No blueprints, no jazz sets, just us. Mia hesitated, torn between work that needed her and Ethan, who so often waited. But she saw the hope flickering in his eyes and nodded. Okay, one night. They ditched their plans, wandering candle-lit streets, hands warming around cups of cocoa. Ethan led Mia to an old bridge, snow dusting the cobblestones. He pulled out his phone and played her Claire de Lune, the two of them dancing quietly in the moonlight, their private world blooming back to life. As wind whipped his scarf loose, Ethan caught Mia close. You and me, Mia, no matter what shape the city takes. Promise? Her breath curled in the frozen air. Promise. For that moment, the city, the cold, even their anxieties, faded away, leaving two hearts side by side, wrapped in starlit promise. February brought rolling gray skies, and with it, new challenges. Mia's art center project hit a snag. An unexpected structural issue threatened the grand opening and her hard-won reputation. Ethan, meanwhile, was offered a dream, a months-long jazz residency in Paris, but it meant leaving the city and Mia for the first time since they'd met. Mia's mind spun with stress. She paced blueprints late into the night, jaw clenched as she scribbled fixes. Julia, ever present and supportive, caught Mia at the coffee machine. You and Ethan look worn thin. Sometimes, Mia, you have to trust what you've built. Ethan waited for her on a foggy evening, his sack strapped to his back and a sleepless look in his eyes. He told her about Paris, voice trembling between excitement and dread. It's the break I've been waiting for, Mia. It's everything I worked for. But I don't want to hurt us. Fear spiked in her chest, and she blurted out. What if you go and I'm here and we can't find our way back? What if dreams are just too big? He gently gathered her hands in his thumb rubbing soothing circles. I don't want my music without you in the melody, but I know you, Mia. You'd never forgive me for staying small. Same way I'd never hold you back. Rain started to fall, softly at first. What do we do? She whispered. Do what lovers in storybooks never do. Ethan smiled shakily. Let each other run, and trust we're strong enough to make it through. They stood in the mist, wrapped in each other's arms. Not making promises of forever. A different kind of promise, one born of trust and hope. When they finally parted, the city felt impossibly wide, and yet, deep down, their hearts beat closer than ever. A new challenge dawned for them both. Could love survive in the space between two destinies? The answer, they realized, would shape every chapter yet to come. The weeks after Ethan's departure bled together in a haze of long hours and unanswered midnights. Paris was a dream far from the city's steel heartbeat, but Mia's thoughts reached for Ethan daily. Images of dim-lit clubs, the copper gleam of his sax, his voice humming through a call late at night. She threw herself into the art center, determined not to falter. Inspections loomed. Complications multiplied. But in quiet moments, while the city lights blinked outside her window, Mia replayed Ethan's recordings. Snippets of jazz from Parisian street corners, his laughter caught between melodies. Each song was a message. I'm still here. Sometimes they video chatted, time zones be damned. Ethan would point his phone at glittering Parisian rooftops, making her laugh with tales of late-night jam sessions. "I saved the sunrise for you," he'd say, showing her the first gold spilling over the Seine. But distance gnawed. One night, an argument flared between them, a sharp, honest fight about fear and feeling left behind. "It's like we're living on different planets, Ethan," Mia snapped, close to tears. "What if this gap is just too wide? What if you find everything you want in Paris?" Ethan's face softened on the screen. "I won't pretend it's easy, Mia. Every night I wish you were here, but every note I play, I carry you with me. I'd give this all up if you told me to." She stared at him, silent, torn between love and ambition. "No," Mia said finally, her voice steadier than she felt. "That's not what Starlit Promises are. We made room for both our dreams. I have to believe we'll find each other on the other side." In those hard days, they sent letters, actual pen on paper, words neither email nor call could hold. Ethan's read like lyric poems. Mia's came filled with sketches and plans for a future home none had built yet. As spring teased the city awake, the art center's opening day shimmered on the horizon, and with it a new uncertainty. Would Ethan make it back in time? Was their bond strong enough not just to survive, but to flourish? Hope hung between them, stretched but never broken, waiting for the last starlit promise to be fulfilled. Opening day arrived with the city bathed in sunlight and possibility. Mia stood in the grand foyer of the new art center, nerves fluttering as the crowd filtered in. Skylights bathed the sweeping halls in gold, and every detail bore her careful touch. Julia squeezed her hand, eyes shining. "He'll come, Mia. One way or another, he'll find his way back." Somewhere in the crowd, orchestral music mingled with the hum of guests. Mia's heart tugged with each new arrival, searching every face, every doorway. Still, Ethan's absence left a hollow ache, until the sound of a saxophone wafted from the upper balcony. As familiar and wild as a remembered dream. She turned, half in disbelief, as Ethan stood there in his oldest suit, wind-mussed and grinning, sax lifted to the light. He played a single, soaring note, the kind that cut through noise and doubt and found her where nothing else could. She threaded through the crowd, breathless, meeting him beneath the grand skylight. "Ethan!" she gasped, blinking back tears. "You made it?" He slung the sax over his shoulder, voice hitching with relief. "Last plane from Paris. I couldn't miss this, even if I had to play in the airport lounge to get home." Laughter caught on tears as they stood close. Ethan took her hands, spinning her gently in a private circle as voices swelled in the background. "You built something beautiful, Mia. I always knew you could." She squeezed his hands tighter, careful and certain all at once. "And you taught me there's magic in the chaos. I want it all, Ethan. The music, the mess, the dreams, together." He twirled her again and then dipped her back, grinning. "So let's build it, one note, one beam, one day at a time. Starting now." As the opening ceremony soared behind them, Mia and Ethan found the promise they'd made beneath the meteor shower lived not in the stars, but in every choice and challenge they faced together. Years from now, people would walk these halls and feel echoes of jazz and blueprints, love stitched into every stone and song. Because sometimes love isn't about finding common ground. It's about daring to build a world big enough for two dreams and trusting they'll shine brighter beneath the sane, endless sky.